Hey folks, Sidney Phelps here with Bonnie Plants. Today I want to talk about 9 common mistakes that new gardeners make. Heck, you may even be a master gardener and these may be some of the common mistakes that you make. The reason we're going to talk about this today is this is one of the top discussion points that I get all the time. If we're at a conference, if we get an email, please help me, what am I doing wrong? And these are the questions that I generally have to ask most anybody is, here are these steps. And we're going to follow these through today. The first thing is planting a garden out of sight. The old adage of out of sight, out of mind really follows true with this. If you're planting in a garden where you can't see it, you're not going to be able to keep it maintained as well as you need to. So keep the garden somewhere close to the house, somewhere close to a barn where you can really look at it and enjoy it. I mean, it is really, you are tilling the earth. It is a hobby for you to do. So keep it close by. This way you can see when you need to either stake tomatoes, stake peppers, when it's time to start harvesting things. You get a better understanding of what's going in your garden when you really spend time with it, and you'll reap a bigger reward in produce by the end of the spring. Another thing is you're planting too much. This is a big problem that a lot of people have. Spring hits, fall hits, they're excited to plant that garden. They go in the stores and they get way more than they have space for. This causes overcrowding. This causes, either too much production that you don't know what to do with all the product, or you're not getting enough production because the root systems are constantly fighting to gain strength, and one plant will become the dominant plant out of that group. So make sure that you get just enough for your space. So if you've got a 4x4 space, don't expect to plant 8 tomatoes. Really utilize that space to the best of its ability. All of the tags have the spacing requirements. That will limit your overcrowding and make sure that you plant the appropriate amount. Now, planting too soon or too late is another issue. You've got a harvest date, you have a variety date that gives you all the different information. So if you're planting tomatoes, you've got 60 to 80 days before harvest. If your harvest time is going to be sometime in late fall with a frost, you will not see the production of that. So be smart. Look at the day you plant it, count out how much time you have left, make sure that you're getting that right planting time so that you're reaping that harvest. Now, if you are looking at ways to figure out the best way to do your plants or how to manage your plants, always make sure that you are feeding the plants. You want to make sure that you're feeding them every 7 to 10 days. If you're using a conventional fertilizer, you can use granular, liquid. If you're growing organically, same thing. There's tons of products out there right now that you can use that will make you successful in your garden. But one of the biggest issues that anybody has in their garden is they plant it too far away from a water source. So I don't want to have it next to my house. I'm going to put it out here in the field. Well, unless you have water in the field or you have a way to run a hose, you really have to think about that, because the way that you maintain a garden is through watering it and fertilizing it or feeding it, however you decide to do that. And finally, making sure you harvest at the right time. How do you know when the right time to harvest is? That goes back to point number 1, out of sight, out of mind. Stay in your garden, maintain, keep your eyes on it. Whenever the tomatoes start to ripen up, make sure it's time to pull them, and you will have a bountiful, beautiful harvest this spring and this fall. So if you have any other questions, go to bonnieplants.com or Homegrown with Bonnie Plants.
Sidney is happy to answer questions about how to fix mistakes you may have made in the garden. Drop him a line at simplysouthern@alafarm.com, and we'll send you a nice gift if he answers it on the air.
Mary, another episode of Simply Southern is complete. Thanks for watching, folks. Next week, I've got my engine rev for some racing, but we won't be in Talladega.
But we will be in Winston County to visit a unique farm that uses agriculture to teach students about problem solving. I'm Mary Johns.
And I'm Jim Allen. Mary, play some more on that spam joke.
All right.
Sweet Home Alabama?
Simply Southern is a production of the Alabama Farmers Cooperative and the Alabama Farmers Federation.